Welcome to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad podcast with Chris Finn, a production of P4S Golf. Welcome back to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad. I am your host, Chris Finn, and today I want to talk about something that unfortunately I think has ruined a lot of golfers' opportunities at longevity in the game in a pretty significant way, meaning... And honestly, it's one of the what I think is the saddest ways that it happens. And it's the instance where you have a golfer who wants to get better, whether that's at the game of golf, at just feeling better health wise, be able to play more golf, whatever it may be. It's usually around the game of golf, obviously, but there's health implications too, just feeling better, and then obviously performance in terms of hitting the ball further, maybe lower scores. So you have somebody who's invested. You have an individual who a lot of the times goes to the gym multiple times a week. They have these workouts they pulled out of, whether it was Golf Digest or YouTube or whatever their latest publication is, or a book that they've written by a pro or somebody else, right? And they've kind of compiled all these exercises, or maybe even they go and work with somebody and who they think is helping them get to where they want to go. And they're putting in time, which is the most valuable thing that they're putting in. There's also money involved, all those sorts of things. And they aren't educated enough to know the difference between what is golf fitness, or we honestly like to call it more golf performance. I think golf fitness kind of has this goofy rap around it. Golf performance to me is more science-based. Regardless of what we call that, they end up getting this like BS fitness program that's supposedly going to help their golf game, right? They have golfy exercises. You can't see me, but on the video, I'm doing air quotes, golfy exercises. And, a lot of times nobody's, I shouldn't say it's nobody. Most people aren't, trainers or physios aren't like ill-willed and like actively trying to screw you, but they just generally maybe don't know. And genuinely, they maybe think that they're helping you based at the best of their ability. And so what I want to do today is I want to arm you, the listener here today, with kind of the BS detector so that way you can tell, does this person actually know what they're talking about? Are they looking at the right things that matter and that are actually going to move the needle? Or is it just stuff that they've heard and they're parroting and they don't actually truly understand why they were looking at this and based on these different findings, what they're going to do for me? So let's start from the top. So when the first thing that should happen when you go to somebody to work on your golf fitness or your performance, basically your body, the physicality of the side, so you can swing the golf club better, play more, not hurt, all those sorts of things. The first thing that should happen from a technical standpoint, obviously they should ask you, why are you there? What's motivating you to be here? All those sorts of things to understand you personally, what your goals are, so they can obviously frame everything around that. But the first thing that they should look at, first and foremost, bottom level, think of the old food pyramid where you had like your carbs at the bottom, right? The most important thing here is mobility in the 4 rotary centers, okay? Mobility doesn't mean can you touch your toes, can you scratch your hands behind your back? Sure, those things are important. I'm sure I'll get blasted by people in the fitness industry. It's super important. Yes, not arguing that. But the 4 most important things for a golfer are your hip internal rotation mobility, your shoulder external rotation mobility, your neck rotation both ways, mostly towards your lead side, to the left side for a right-handed player and right side for a lefty, and your trunk rotation, your ability to sit in a chair, keep your knees together, and can you turn your shoulders, back and forth, right? Internal rotation of your hip. That's when you're taking your backswing, you're internally rotating into your right or your trail hip, so your right hip for a righty, your left hip for a lefty. When you're coming down through impact and into follow through, that's your lead hip is internally rotating, right? So that's into your left hip for a right-handed player and into your left hip for a lefty, right? So if you're lefty, you're going into your right. If you're righty, you're going into your left. Your shoulder external rotation, and most important, is in your trail shoulder, okay? Yes, I care about your lead shoulder, but not a ton. I care way more about your trail shoulder because that's going to impact, can you shallow the club out? Or are you going to have to side bend a ton and put extra stress on your back, right? So your right arm for a right-handed player and your left arm for a left-handed player. Those are the 4 mobility tests that must be done. 0, unequivocally, the 4 most important tests that should be done. Now, Can they look at your toe touch? Can they look at, can you put your hands behind your back? Sure. 100% they can do all that. Obviously, toe touching is important to understand if we're going to get you into a gym program. That's looking at your hinge pattern. Can you deadlifts? Do we need to go from blocks in terms of bringing it up a little bit, right? We need to see how that quality of the movement pattern is. And then we also need to see your extension pattern, right? How well your hips, move forward over your toes, how well your shoulder blades can move back behind your belt. We need to see those general gross patterns, gross meaning like overall bigger patterns. But if we get, a lot of people will get into the FMS where they're, looking at your balance or your Y balance tests. Those tests are all fine, but getting better at those tests does not directly relate to you playing better golf whatsoever, guys. Now, if you're doing nothing, we have all the research that says just do something, and that's better than nothing. Okay, so you can do get better at any of those movements, and compared to doing nothing, it is 100% better. But compared to what you could do, they suck. They're not going to move the needle. You have to get better at those 4 rotational centers. Those will actually, causatively speaking, from a statistical standpoint, help you to prevent the back from hurting because your hips are too tight or your shoulders tight, and so you have to compensate, right? It's going to prevent and actually improve your sequencing. So it's going to prevent inconsistency. It's going to minimize that as much as physically as possible, right? We're going to actually see hard, quantitative improvements in your golf performance, meaning you're not hurting, you can swing the club faster, you can do it more consistently, it's more repeatable, all the things that are important in the game of golf, just by those 4 things. So forget everything else, like even grip strength, while important, not as important as the 4 rotary centers, okay? So that's your base level. Next level is now strength. So this is where we start to talk about strength. Again, grip strength, definitely important. Is it the most important? No, not at all. Most important we're looking at strength-wise is ultimately we know that power in the vertical sense from the lower body, so your ability to jump, is the single most important predictor of club head speed and ability to produce power in the golf swing vertically. So power is basically a result of how much force you can create and how fast you can create it. Force is strength. So we want to make sure you're strong in squats, in hinging, deadlift type patterns, right? Those are the 2 most important ones. Now you can do lots of different variations, lunges, single legs, those sorts of things. Nothing wrong with them. But squat and deadlift and how much you can move in those arenas are going to be the biggest bang for your buck in terms of return and actually improving your ability to produce more force. Now, the cool thing when you do that, guess what? You kind of have to hold heavy stuff. Grip strength naturally gets better. So this is where we see, doing grip strength programs. If you're just doing a good golf performance program, grip strength programs don't actually do anything. Like there's lots of, training aids. There's like thick handles that you can squeeze. The old school, squeeze the ball or the, I forget what they were called. The 2 little handles and you got the round thing in the middle and you can squeeze it, right? If you can deadlift your body weight, for a number of reps, or you can hold the bar to do that. You can, you do carries where you can do a farmer carry where you can pick up some weight and walk with it, right? You can do those at significant, literally at your body weight. Those other metrics literally do nothing. We've tested it. They do nothing, right? Just being strong enough in your legs actually also takes care of the grip, the grip strength as well. So I'm always a big fan of 2-for-1s. I know a lot of companies do 2-for-1 sales. Why not? Why don't we do it in the fitness world, right? In the performance world. So let's be smart about it. So now you have your strength, right? The other piece of strength is your upper body push power, right? So there's the simplest way to do it is a bench press. Everything else is flat and relaxed. There's nothing else to stabilize. You have a barbell, you move the weight, right? So that's how much force can you produce with your upper body. Now, can you do single arm variations and all? Yeah, 100%. Now, actually, I'm all for those. But if we're truly boiling it down, you get somebody who says, "Oh, bench press is bad. It's not good for you." It's doing it the right way is actually really good for your golf game. Improving your upper body chest pass, which is your push power, is causatively, statistically speaking, meaning if you get it better, your club head speed goes up. There's no arguing about that. literally it can tell you how many inches it increases equals how many miles per hour. So that and vertical leap are the power metrics, which is the next level, right? So we get you stronger. Now we got to test your power. If you get stronger and your power doesn't go up, that just means you can produce force, but you're slow with producing it. So we got to get you faster. So that's where you look at plyometric type activities, right? So that's, how quickly can you load and unload? Think of like hops in place. There's lots of different uses of med balls for some plyometric type stuff, right? So now you have mobility, you have strength, you have your power and your speed elements. Now we have all that layered in. We had talked about I don't know if it was last episode, a couple episodes ago, talked about the safe swing speed, right? So if your club head speed with all these power increases and strength increases and you have good mobility, now we can talk about club head speed, actually training speed, like speed training, like using a speed training device or doing speed training to sessions. Now it actually can be talked about, because now at this point, your safe swing speed of what you could do is, let's say it's 110 miles an hour and you're only swinging 100 miles an hour. Well, now we can do specific speed training. So there's a difference between here, guys, okay? So generalized speed training, right, would be like you could do sprints. You could do, I guess, just moving something as fast as you can, not in the specific sport motion. So sprints for a sprinter are specific, right? Sprints for a golfer are not specific to the sport. For a golfer, we're going to actually hold a club and we're going to move it really fast because we're doing the exact movement. So it's specific speed training, right? That's when specific speed training is actually useful, is when you have good mobility, you have the strength required, and you have the power metrics that are showing us that your safe swing speed is actually above where you currently are. There's a gap we can fill, a speed gap. Let's do specific speed training to get your nervous system moving specifically in that pattern, moving really, really fast. Okay. So that is what a good golf fitness program should look like. If it doesn't look like that, go somewhere else. Don't waste your money. Most importantly, don't waste your time. I think that's what annoys me the most when I hear people, I've been training 7 times a week for an hour and a half a day. Like literally these people have wasted 10 hours of their week every single life, or 10 hours of their life every single week doing things that may help, but we literally could get them in and out of the gym in 3 hours in that week and have double the results. That's 7 extra hours of their life every week, or 7 hours of their week, throughout their entire life, 7 hours extra every single week. Shoot, I mean, that's like almost 2 rounds of golf. It is 2 rounds of golf if you can play in 3.5 hours, right? Like that's awesome. And so that is what golf fitness and golf performance is meant to do, in my opinion, is what it should do, in my opinion. If you are not getting that, or not seeing that in the program you're doing, then you need to look around, look for something else. Ask the person you're talking to, like, hey, what about these other things? Hopefully they know about them. Maybe they just forgot. We'll be optimistic. Or if you're going if you're going the path on your own, these are the things that you definitely need to be thinking about. So hopefully that helped some of you avoid going into the BS trap, right? Hopefully we diffused and stopped you from going that route. And hopefully this arms you with, most importantly, the education and the understanding of what to look for and what a good program is, so that you can accomplish your goals. Play this game as long as you can. Swing the club faster in a safe manner so you don't get hurt. Decrease injury, decrease your chances of injury. All the things that we want you to do here at P4S Golf and on the Bomb Squad, so that you can we all want to enjoy this game as long as possible. So thanks as always for hanging out with me here for the short little stint, with the solo shorts. This one went a little long just because I felt like there was so much to share with you. I'm very passionate about this. Nothing annoys me more than when I see, golf fitness, air quotes, aka BS, being sold as the real deal when it really is not. So hopefully this arms you with the knowledge to avoid that down the road. So thanks again as always. We'll look forward to catching you on the next episode.